We have this ellipse equation x minus 2 quantity square by 81 plus y plus 8 quantity square over 100 equal 1. And we first find the center of the ellipse. For this, I'm going to write the standard equation of the ellipse, that is x minus h quantity square over a square plus y minus k quantity square over b square equals 1, where h comma k is the coordinate of the center. This is the center. And 2a comma 2b, these are the lengths of the major and minor axis. So when we compare this ellipse equation with the standard equation of ellipse, we see that h equals 2 and k equals negative 8. So we say that the center of this ellipse is 2 comma negative 8. We now determine the endpoints of the major axis as well as the minor axis. So here we have two types of ellipses. The first type, I'm going to write the standard form, that is x minus h quantity square over a square plus y minus k quantity square over b squared equals 1. Here a is greater than b, and this means the major axis is along the x-axis. And in type 2, we have other type of ellipse. So let me write the standard equation, that is x minus h quantity square over b square plus y minus k quantity square over a square. This equals 1. And here also a is greater than b. However, the major axis is along the y-axis. Major axis is along y-axis. So let's compare our original ellipse equation with these two standard types. So let me just bring it over here. Okay, so first we have to determine the value of a and b. Clearly this has to be a, because when you compare the denominator 100 and 81, 100 is greater than 81. So we say that this is a squared equal to 100, and this is b squared, and this equals 81. And this means clearly this follows the type 2, that is a squared is below the y term, which means the major axis along the y-axis. So we can determine the value of a using this equation, that is a equal to 10. We just have to take the square root, and similarly b equals 9. So we know that the major axis is along the y-axis and it is of type 2. Let's mark the points as well as the endpoints. So first I'm going to mark the center. Let's say this is the center of this ellipse. We already determined that the center is at 2 comma minus 8, and so a equal 10 and major axis is along y-axis. So let me see that it is like this, and a is 10, which means the endpoints of the major axis has to be 10 units from the center. So let's say that this has to be 10 units above, and another point has to be 10 units below this center. So which means I have to add negative 8 plus 10. So therefore this becomes positive 2, which means the point, the end point of the major axis is 2 comma 2. And similarly for another endpoint is, here I have to subtract negative 8, that is negative 8 negative 10, and this equals negative 18. So basically this is 10 units and this is also 10 units. So therefore this point is 2 comma negative 18. So these are the two endpoints of the major axis. Now let's determine the endpoints of the minor axis. For this, we'll be placing the value of b. So the minor axis, the endpoints of the minor axis are b units from the center. So that is, it has to be 9 units from the center, that is to the right of the center as well as to the left of the center. It say that this point and this point. So which means I have to add 9 to the x coordinate of the center. That is 2 plus 9 equals 11. So therefore this becomes 11 comma negative 8. And I will also have to subtract 9 from 2. So that is 2 minus 9. This equals negative 7. So therefore this coordinate, that is the coordinate of minor axis, is negative 7 comma negative 8. So basically we got the 4 points. So we can connect all the 4 points to get the ellipse. So I'm going to do that. Here I have drawn the ellipse using the major endpoints of the major axis and minor axis. Clearly, this A and B are the endpoints of the major axis, and the point C and D are the endpoints of the minor axis. And we see from this ellipse that the point A, which is the endpoint, one of the endpoint, it is at a distance of 10 units from the center. So we say that the endpoints are 10 units from the center, the endpoints of the major axis. And similarly, the endpoints of the minor axis, that is C and D, and these are about 9 units from the center. So we say that these are 9 units from the center. And finally, to answer this question, that is to graph the ellipse, we basically have to connect all the 4 points, that is the points A, B, C, and D. So we say that we have to connect the points 2, comma 2, then 2, comma negative 18, comma 11, comma 8, as well as the another point negative 7, negative 8.